It's time for some good news, because every Thursday night I bring you a couple of good news stories. There's a new email address, goodnews@skynews.com.au. You tell us, goodnews@skynews.com.au. We'd love to hear good news. I've been banging on here for the last month about COVID-19 and the damage it's done to the economy, which is a disgrace. I won't be footing the bill, and I dare say you won't be either. It'll be our children and our children's children. People out of work right across the country, not to mention 250,000, Tanya talked about this before, forced onto the dole this week in Victoria. A national calamity. Well, that's not a good news story, but this is. An increasing number of Australians are trying to find work and some additional cash flow as the unemployment rate continues to rise. Well, that brings us to Shane Wallace. He's a former Queensland postman and rainwater tank entrepreneur. He's developed an app that's transforming the online market and helping people make money. He's in our Brisbane studio. Shane, welcome.
G'day, Alan. Great to be here.
You too. It's called WorkApp. Just explain how it works.
OK, well, WorkApp's a free industry platform for workers and jobs, buying and selling, business advertising and promotions and much more. There's zero fees on WorkApp. It works for you.
Find a job, you can find staff, you can sell, you can buy, and it doesn't cost you anything. Now, as I understand, you came up with the idea because a builder friend could never find staff at the last minute to cover tradies who were sick. How long did it take you to develop the app? And I thought you did it in the local pub, did you?
No, not in the local pub. We tested it in the local pub, though. It was actually my brother, Chad, who came up with the idea. He's a tradie, and he had a labourer pull out on him at the last minute at one time, and he had a concrete truck turn up, gave him two options, turn the truck around and pay for the load anyway, or somehow find someone in a split second. So he actually jumped in his vehicle and drove up the street yelling out, "Need a worker, need a worker." And he found a fellow at the end of the street and brought him back and put him to work and saved the day. And he rang me at the end of the day and he said, let's build an app that finds the closest active workers to the job sites because us tradies need it. Well, so it started from a solution to a problem that the tradies had, and it took us 7.5 years to get to this point to develop WorkApp.
But so far, am I right in saying you've had 200,000 people access the app? It's just called workapp.world, eh?
Yes, yeah, we're upwards of 150 to 200,000 close now of downloads. People are coming in their droves now, Alan, because it is free. We don't ask you to get your credit card out of your pocket when you join WorkApp. It's truly free.
Well, just let me ask you this.
We want to help the little guy.
Let me ask you this. So someone's watching us now at Mackay or Geraldton or Port Augusta. What do they do? It doesn't cost them anything. What do they do?
They simply go to the workapp.world or the App Store. You can just download the App Store from Google Play or the iTunes App Store. Or you can go to workapp.world. So it's not .com, it's .world. We've got a world vision, and we're free for everyone.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. Well done. There we are. It's on the screen, workapp.world. A good man. There he is, Shane Wallace. Good to talk to you, Shane. Let me tell you again, you can get a bit of
be here, Alan.
You too, my friend. My friend, you can get a bit of part-time work in your local area. If someone's got a gig going that way that week, it doesn't matter what type of work you're looking for. There it is. No middleman. He makes a quid because he does a bit of advertising. It's a bit of old-fashioned enterprise. Brilliant stuff. Just go to workapp.world. Workapp.world. Couldn't be simpler than that. Now, thank you, Shane, for taking the time to tell us about it. It's brilliant. Now, let's have a look at this. Workapp.world. Someone's just texted me then to say where it is. And if you've got a story you'd like to tell us about, go to goodnews@skynews.com.au. Goodnews@skynews.com.au. Now, from time to time, you hear a story and it reinforces your faith in the human race. Allan Waldon is a butcher from Turramurra, Sydney's northern suburbs. He and his son Scott travelled to Nepal in 2006 to trek to the Mount Everest base camp. It was the trip of a lifetime. Not only did it change their lives, Allan witnessed in Nepal extraordinary hardship and poverty. He decided to do something about it. He put a bucket on the counter of his butcher shop, Eastern Road quality meats, selling bones for dogs. And a gold coin donation would get your dog a bone, and the money went to helping those in need in Nepal. Allan and his guide from the 2006 journey, Prem Khatri, established what's called the Nepal School Fund, or Sambhav Nepal, which translates as It's Possible. Allan Waldon is here beside me in the studio. What was about Nepal that you witnessed on your first trip with your son that prompted you to try to make a difference?
Look, Alan, there was a whole lot of things. Basically, it was the lack of education and the way some people were taken advantage of. One small example I seen was a porter. He was carrying 60 litres of kerosene plus foodstuffs and other things. I thought it was about 65, 70 kilos. They're not very big. I asked him how much he was carrying. He said 45 kilos. And I thought, well, here's this guy getting ripped off because he just can't add up. And look, I could talk to you for an hour about all the things I've seen.
So you actually raised the money with the bucket on the bench of your butcher shop, and you put this into infrastructure, classrooms, computers. Now, didn't you settle on one particular primary school in Ratmata village, which I understand is perched on the side of a rice-terraced hillside, and suddenly you found there an extremely remote part of Nepal, and when you arrived, the school had, 38 students. The roof was held on with stones, full of holes, and you've rebuilt the school.
That was the first school we rebuilt. When we first looked at it, there was 8 students. When we told them they were going to get backpacks and books to write on, there was 30 kids turned up the next week. So we had 38 when we started. Look, it's growing extremely a long way from there. It's a little bit like a tree, and I'm at the bottom of the trunk, and there's branches everywhere. And there's 8 other countries involved now. When I had the butcher shop over the 10-year period that I had the butcher shop at that stage, from 2006 to 2016, we raised $139,000 just out of dog bones. But there has been a lot of other people that have put a lot of money in along the way. And even this week, when I said I've spoken to Alan Jones and I'll be on the program, 2 of my long-time contributors both put in considerable contributions that have gave me 3 or 4 contributions before. And at the moment, we're trying to work on women's health. The girls over there don't have pads, they don't have tampons. What they literally use is an old shirt, an old T-shirt ripped up. They sit at home for 5 days. That's 25% of their education. They sit at home, and it's the stigma that goes with it. We're trying to change that, and for this year, for the first time, we got out 105. What I want to have by the end of the year out's 5,000. And change the lives of 5,000 girls and women. That's what I'm trying to do at this point in time.
You are amazing. And you've led these donor treks, I think, haven't you, where the donor can see for him or herself how their money's being used.
One of the donors that gave me money this week, some years ago, gave me some money, and he said, look, I'll go on the trek. He came on the trek, and I said, you can see what's going to happen. If someone gave me money for 1,000 pads for the girls, and they're reusable, sustainable, last 2.5 years, they can come over at their own cost. It's a charity. It's not a money-making thing. They can come over at their own cost and hand the pads out to the girls and see the look on their faces.
Wonderful.
It's amazing. Look, it started small and it's got a lot bigger. It's still very personal.
We've got to talk to you again because it's a phenomenal story. It's not everyone who can say they've made a difference to people's lives, and you've certainly done that, Alan. Very, very good to talk to you. Are you still the butcher at Eastern Road Quality Meats?
No, I sold the butcher shop in 2016. Right. I'm Alan the butcher, but I haven't had the knives in my hand for 4 years. So.
You're doing better things, my friend. Better things.
Thank you very much for your time. And if you said you'll see me again, I'll probably drive you mad with emails. So.
No, please do. Please do. Great to talk to you. There he is. Alan Waldon. Is that a good story?